You know, when people say not to do something, I'm usually gonna do something. And that's another kid factor. You know, you keep telling kids, no, 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 and that's you know, that's that implanting factor, like I was speaking about earlier, and it builds that blockage in our head. But yeah, man, just doing things that people tell me not to do. I'm always curious, like, why? There's a reason why they're telling me not to do this.
Hey, so we're live right here with Ryan Loede, the real Ryan Loede. Came down from Tampa to stop in the office to say hey. So you know we got to film some content. I'm looking to learn as much as you guys are, so I'm just happy to have this guy in the studio. If you don't know Ryan, I'll let him introduce himself real quick, but I don't think he needs an introduction. But go ahead, Ryan.
Yep. So hey, Brent, appreciate you having me here. So my name is Ryan Loede, 23 years young.
23.
Been in the insurance industry, as many of you might be watching already know. And if you're following Brad, obviously you're in the insurance industry. But been in the insurance industry for about coming up on 4 years. Wasn't really full time at first. Wasn't really all you know 100% committed.
Yeah.
So that's kind of something that held me back from getting to where I'm at right now. Who knows? I could have been there, you know, a couple of years ago. So, but really just building my agency right now, looking for those highly ethical, highly driven, highly motivated people who want to, you know, just walk through glass shards.
You heard
go
that.
through
Ethical
fire.
too. Ethical, highly ethical. That was the first thing you said too. I love it.
You got to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because man, like me personally, like that's just what I believe in. If I'm not pushing that belief out there, I'm going to be attracting the wrong type of people.
100%.
Who will cut corners to get, you know, to get commissions. Who will
100%.
cut corners to get to where they want to be in life. And like that's just not what we want to do. We don't want to cut corners. We don't want to have to, you know, do something to get something else. Like we might as well do everything correctly in the right way.
No doubt, man. Well, listen, we were talking before we got rolling. We were talking about that money mindset, and we were talking about it in the sense that, you know, a lot of times agents will come into the industry and then they're trained on sales right away, or they're trained on product right away, or they're trained on, you know, whatever it is, but it's not always, and it's never, as far as I've ever seen, been the money mindset. So tell me a little bit about that. Like what have you done as far as training new agents coming in about that money mindset, and why do you feel like that's the most important thing to talk about first, like right away, right as soon as you're setting that expectation?
Yeah, I mean specifically, as I was telling you earlier, like if agents or people in general, they don't have that right money mindset, like how much it's going to take to be financially free, how much money it's going to take to, you know, actually share that around with other people. You know, if they don't have that right money mindset going in from the jump, because as we both know in the insurance industry, it's not easy. I mean, it's easy to a sense, but like if you don't have the fundamentals down, it's not going to be easy. So that money mindset's really going to help, you know, newer agents or even experienced agents really just get that boost in their business to really realize, like, hey, what am I capable of? What's my true purpose? What is my true, you know, full potential? And really just expanding their mindset. Because if they don't have that expanded mindset from the get-go, they're going to be limiting the amount of action they take. They're going to be limiting the amount of discipline it takes to really hold on to those results and those accomplishments that they've actually received. So it really just starts them off on the wrong path, right? You know, we're kind of just setting people up for failure, right?
Absolutely.
Because shoot, if I have that mindset of like, $1 million, that's enough to be financially free, like, hey, we got to really break down that number and like really become self-aware of like, dude, that $1 million, it doesn't go that far. And that $1 million, it might more than likely only be able to help out myself. And
that's good, right there.
We really
I need a bomb. I need a bomb.
And we got to focus on not just ourselves, helping other people as well. And that's one of the biggest things that I'm so passionate about, is because a lot of people, they have those blinders in their life. They have those barriers, that just defensive side of, like, you know, those limitations that are built up as from us growing from kids as the most natural state of a human being, kids, right? Unreasonable, massive action takers, big dreamers. Will do whatever it takes to get what they want. You know, we're that's our natural state. But as those years go by, we start being, you know, manipulated,
I feel like we almost slip into a trance.
Yeah.
You know, we get lulled to sleep by life.
Exactly. And we start getting all this bad information, and it starts to build those massive limitations in our head, which ultimately hold us back from getting where we want to be.
What is some of that bad information in your life? Like for you personally, you know, some of those limiting beliefs, some of the to be honest with you, man, I still struggle with them. I think, you know, there's times where I'm thinking too small. You know, like I'm looking at new office space. And I'm like, man, I don't know if we can fill this place. But like that's a limiting belief, right? Mm-hmm. So, what are some of the things that you've dealt with or you've worked through to get where you're at today?
Specifically, it's got to be just that unreasonable attitude. Because me personally, and I've been kind of honing into this lately, kind of what I just was talking about is like really just realizing and recognizing and be self-aware of like how kids operate. Yeah. Man, they are just absolute maniacs. They're full energy. They're just always just like performing at their peak performance because that's all they know, right? So I always look at that and I'm always stemming back like, yeah, be unreasonable, you know, go the extra mile, do what others aren't willing to do, you know, and, you know, fight for what you want, you know, because we're taught that it's, you know, it's greedy to get what you want, to have what you want, to, you know, put out these big dreams and aspirations. But, you know, that's what really helps people get along. So really just that unreasonable factor is what I really hone into, taking massive action. You know, when people say not to do something, I'm usually gonna do something. That's another kid factor. You know, you keep telling kids, no, and that's you know that's that implanting factor, like I was speaking about earlier, and it builds that blockage in our head. But yeah, man, just doing things that people tell me not to do. I'm always curious, like why? There's a reason why they're telling me not to do this.
No doubt.
There's a reason why.
You heard it here. Don't ever tell Ryan Loede not to do something. He might just do it, right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's usually how I am. I usually, when I'm not moving towards something and I'm pulling away from it, this is something I learned from my mentor, Grant Cardone. Like, if I'm not moving towards something, it's obviously because I don't know something about that.
Right.
And if I don't know something about that, there must be something that, you know, there could be an opportunity there. There could be, you know, an idea, a strategy, whatever it might be. And I'm just always moving with speed. And that's another thing, like that hey, just always move with speed. We're taught to slow it down. We're taught to take a break. Like, no, speed is the new big nowadays. Speed is power. With the speed at which you move will build your velocity in life. And me personally, and I really try to ingrain this in other people, just move fast with your decisions.
Right.
Because, hey, you might be moving in the right direction. You might be moving in the wrong direction. Not making a decision.
But you're moving.
Exactly. Exactly. And it's like what Coach Burt talks about this a lot, the law of inertia, right? When an object is in motion, like the only thing that could stop that object in motion is an outside force. Yep. So it's those limitations that hold us back from actually making those decisions quickly. And we should understand, like, hey, when I'm not making a decision with speed, when I'm not moving into something, like that's killing my certainty, my courage, my confidence. And it's just holding me back, me back in the long run.
So big. All right, well, you heard it here, guys. That's a wrap. I mean, just that right now, we could end it on that note, right? We could literally end with that, and I think we're helping thousands, if not, I mean, if millions see this, then we're helping millions of people, because that's something that, I mean, if I'm being honest, I still struggle with, right? If you're being honest, I'm sure there's days where you don't feel like it, or you've got a little bit of a limitation. You've got to move with speed through that, right? You can't slow down. And you know, not to get off topic, but I recently jumped into this little side hustle, right? It's like it's a nights and weekends type of deal. I know nothing about it, right? And we won't even talk about what it is so much, but I got involved in it and immediately, man, took action, crushed it the first week out, and I knew nothing about it. And so, you know, a lot of times what we were talking about before, a lot of times we focus on training on product and sales and, you know, all of this stuff. But if we train first on, hey, you got to take massive, immediate, fast action, repetitive, you know, like just hammering it every single day. Like if you're training on that, dude, people can't fail. It doesn't matter if they don't know about the product. It doesn't. If they have the sound ethics, right? You gotta have ethics, because if you train people to do that don't have morals and ethics, then they're just gonna do the wrong thing. They're gonna cut corners, like you said. But if you're working with ethically and morally sound people, and you're training them to take fast, repetitive action with no like with little to no thought, right? You got to have some thought, but then they cannot fail even if they don't know anything about the product, because they're going to come to you like a new agent's going to come to Ryan Loede. They're taking fast, immediate action, repetitive. They've talked to hundreds of people, and now they're going to connect you with those hundreds of people to help them close those sales. Because I'm sure as a leader and a mentor and a coach to new agents, you're going to get on the phone, or you'll be happy to help them close some deals, right?
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that what it's all
about? Give me on the phone. You're in the house. Give me on the phone. You're having trouble. Hey, let me know. I'll tag team them. You know, I'll touch them again. And that's big. I want to drop this is like, I'd rather have someone that's willing to take the massive action without knowing where that's going to go, because a lot of people get caught up in that, like, oh, I need to know where I'm going.
Yeah.
I need to know what the next step is, what's going to happen if I take action. And like, that's just that fear of the unknown that holds a lot of people back.
Yeah,
and you got to be like, in your head from the outside in, like, you got to be viewing like, hey, if most people in the world are going to pull back from the fear of the unknown, I might as well move into it, because there's got to be something to it. There's got to be an opportunity.
Getting uncomfortable, right? Get comfortable getting uncomfortable. That's what we're always telling people. You got to get comfortable getting uncomfortable. Move into that fear of the unknown. That's so big, man. And you know, we're talking about the money mindset. We're talking about getting agents started. We're actually in a series. I'm doing a little series. We just filmed the first one last week. It's should be dropping, you know, this coming week, right? So the week after we're recording this. And I'm bringing in local entrepreneurs. We're in Sarasota, Tampa area. I mean, we've got, I personally know tons of extremely successful. I mean, dude, I'm talking to my boy yesterday, and he's like, we put 80 grand a week on our credit card and pay it off every Friday. I'm like, 80 grand a week? Come on, son. That's huge. Like,
let's make that a
if
day.
You're not spending 80K a week, like you got to get to where you can spend 80K a week. Like I want to spend 80K a week and be able to put it on a credit card and pay that sucker off every Friday, just to they're capitalized on 3% cash back. You know, we're talking about cash back, whatever. And I'm like, 80K a week, let's go. And so we're doing this series because I believe, and this is my struggle. This has been my struggle, right? I started insurance, right? Had no money management skills, right? Didn't know anything about how to manage money. Came up in a family that didn't manage money very well. So I had those bad habits. I had just these things ingrained in me that I had to kind of unlearn. And so we're bringing local entrepreneurs and successful people in to talk about you know, the strategies and the things that have gotten them to where they're at, investing in their own business. Because what I've found with insurance agents a lot of times is, man, if an insurance agent's making 500 grand a year, they're spending 450. You know what I mean? If an insurance agent's making 100 grand a year, that's their salary as well. They're not paying themselves a modest salary and investing back in the business. And you know, if I'm being honest, that was me for a while. And now I'm looking at my expense. I'm trying to dial anything back and invest more in the business, because, dude, this thing's a living organism. I want it to grow, and I want to just keep putting, you know, 80K a week into it. Like, I want to get to that level. So talk about that, like money management, what's helped you scale and grow the most, like that kind of, let's get into a little bit of that, because I mean, even though he's in the insurance industry and we're bringing in outside entrepreneurs, this guy knows how to manage some money too. Like you're not a financial advisor, but like you're doing all right, right?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, specifically for me, the tips and the tricks that I use when, you know, as I've been growing up for the past 4 to 5 years being an entrepreneur, is simply like just having that mindset of like, yo, I'm broke. You know, I don't have money to spend unless, number one, it's going to help me build my business, or number two, maybe just build my self-esteem in myself.
Yeah.
Because the better we feel about ourselves, and I do this, you know, not like every day, not, you know, very frequently, but here seldomly, like maybe I'll buy something that makes me feel good, because that's going to build confidence in myself, certainty, courage, and it's just going to build that feeling in myself, like, hey, like I'm feeling good, so I'm going to want to take more action. I'm going to want to, you know, be out there. I'm going to want to fight through the adversity and keep persisting until I'm successful. So that's one of the things that I do is like, dude, I'm just going to spend money to make myself feel good. But as far as like
money you have, you know, like that's after you've invested in the business.
Exactly.
That's literally just excess after you. So like, talk about the money you're putting into the business and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So when I'm accumulating money, and this is how everyone should do it, right? I'm sure.
I'm listening.
Sure you could hold to this as well. Like, when I'm accumulating money, I'm literally storing everything back. Like I'm spending nothing, especially if I was a newer agent, even experienced, and like you're having money problems, you know, banking 100K in your bank account, 250, you know, put away in like a real estate investment fund, whatever it might be. Like just store everything you can and be so literally like so stingent with the money that you spend, right? We don't just want to make money and put it right back into the marketplace. We want to make the money, maybe put it back into the business, but also store it.
Yeah.
Because that storing feeling, that feeling of being able to hold on to that money, which like you said, a lot of people aren't able to do. We're able to make the money, but very few are able to actually keep that money. So that ability to store the money and hold on to it, it really just builds a disciplined type of feel. So that's number one, really just holding on to that money. And then number two, just building it to a point where you've never seen that much money in your bank account. So if you haven't, you know, if you haven't got 6 figures in your bank account, like that should be your number one goal, to bank away 6 figures in your bank account. And that's going to just be a massive, massive eye opener. So that's step number two. Step number three, once you have that 100K, yo, get rid of that. Get rid of that money, because, hey, the longer it sits there, the longer you keep looking at it, you keep seeing it, like you're going to want to spend that. Money gets bored. Money's like a jealous lover. It's going to move its attention to someone else that's giving it the attention.
Love it.
You know, when you're in the world with obviously massive amounts of distractions, a lot of noise, like you're going to see all these, you know, shiny objects, whatever it might be, monetary things, like, and you're going to be like, well, I got this money in my bank account, might as well just spend it, you know, a couple thousand a month, I got 100,000, you know. So get rid of that money. And that's one of the things I did, is like right when I hit 100,000, I literally dished it off into an investment vehicle, and I got broke again.
I love it. I love it.
Step number 4, hey, I'm gonna be like hustling like an immigrant, because I got no money now. So if I got no money, like I got to be out there pounding, banging, shoving, pushing, just on a daily basis.
That's belief. That gives yourself some serious belief too, man. Serious belief. Like, you know, one of the things that, you know, part of my story is when I went from 80K my first year to almost 300 my second year, and then back to zero. Like, and it wasn't by choice either. That's what's so cool about what he's saying is, like, by choice, he threw that money into an investment and forgot about it, and went back to work like he had nothing, because he had nothing, right? A lot of times we try to fool ourselves and say, hey, I'm going to grind like I got nothing, but you actually got a lot of something in the bank account or in the savings or whatever, and that's in the back of your mind no matter what. You can't trick your subconscious mind. It is going to be, you know, it's going to believe what it's going to believe. So, you know, I went back to zero, and not by choice, but it did, man. It put me to, like, I had to grind, dude. I had a wedding coming up. I had freaking a lot of money in taxes owed. Like, I wasn't in a good spot, but that was the year that I laid the foundation for what I'm building now, which, you know, I love work, like the team building, love building the teams, love bringing people into an industry that literally, dude, they can blow the top off their limiting beliefs. Like, you never have to starve in this industry, because you just heard it. Like, you make 100 grand, give it all away to an investment. Hopefully, I wouldn't just give it all away. Maybe if you're charitable, maybe a charity, that would be cool, right? That would be a really cool. Actually, I just saw Justin. You see Justin's post the other day? He's building,
for the veterans, right?
Yeah, dude. See, like, that's what Ryan's talking about. Like be greedy to a point where you get everything that you want and more, so that you have that excess that you can give it away to a charity or to an investment vehicle or to somebody less fortunate, or invest in some young up and comer, right? Like that's where I want to get to, right? Because it's not about me. And also my family, dude. Like, you talk about kids. He talked about, like, the unrelenting child, like, that doesn't give. I can tell you from experience, I got a 2-year-old, and I can tell you it's the greatest learning lesson watching him grow up. And, dude, take massive action. Like, in his freaking playroom, he's taking massive action, dude. Everything's everywhere. He's getting up on stages, right? Playing the harmonica, playing the drums with people watching, like nobody cares. Right? He doesn't lack confidence, in other words. But as he grows up, I'm gonna watch that confidence start to dwindle a little bit. I'm gonna be there to pour into him. But, like, that's what happens in the world. You know, like, he's 2 right now. Nothing that he can't do in his mind, nothing he can't do, nothing he can't achieve. And that's a great lesson, dude. I think that over anything that Ryan said, I think for me, taking that home, I'm like getting choked up even just thinking about it.
Yeah.
Like every day now, watching that little guy, like that's a life lesson, dude. And I used to, you know, my pastor in Orlando, he used to every Sunday, dude, the sermons were always like, he would always have some example of like that his kid, you know, taught him this lesson. And I remember all of those things. And dude, my kid does the same thing. So if you're out there and you've got kids, right, use them as an opportunity to see like that was you, man. One day that was you. Like you were that confident. You took that much action. You didn't care what anybody else said. You were gonna do it, right? If they told you not to, what would you do? You were gonna do it anyways, right? Yeah. So I thought that was really cool, man, and I appreciate you, you know, coming by. I want to give you the opportunity, if anything else. I mean, anything else you want to bring up, talk about. Dude, let's make it happen because we've been dropping some serious bombs. And I jokingly grabbed my notepad. Listen, if I didn't own the recording of this, like, and I know that I could rewatch it, I'd have my notepad out for sure. So if you're watching this and you don't have your notepad out, you better go back with your notepad and take some freaking notes because this guy's a legend, and that's awesome stuff, man. Absolutely. So I appreciate it.
Absolutely, brother. Appreciate you.
Anything else you want to?
I mean, yeah. I mean, back to the kids is like they're not caring about order, right? You know, like you said, like you just mentioned, your kid's in his playroom just throwing everything around, like just massive chaos, like. And that's one of the things as adults, as we're growing up, we're just like so taught to like have everything in order. You know, don't start something until you have it all figured out, right? You know, cross the T's, dot the I's. Like commit first, figure out where it's gonna go to. Like who cares about what it could lead to? Like just commit to it. You never know what's gonna come to fruition when you actually do fully commit. So, but I mean, hey, just take the right actions. Show up every single day. Take the right actions in the right amounts over long periods of times. You always will become successful. If you have that in the back of your mind, and obviously during the tough times, adversity, challenges, and you just keep that stored in the back of your mind, like you're gonna know, like, hey, as long as I keep moving forward, keep going through these tough times, these hard times, I might not know where I'm going in life. I might have been doing this for a while. I'm not getting results, and it's tough. I've been in that position in my life. You've been in the position. A lot of people who've watched and been in the position. Like, everyone's been in that same exact position.
Some people watching might be in that position
exactly.
right now.
And that's what we got to focus on. Like, hey, Brad and I were just normal human beings. Every highly successful individual, they were just normal human beings. But they tap into, just this other level of themselves, this other level in their mind. And it just all starts with a decision. I mean, if you make that decision, you follow up with full 100% commitment, you're going to find a creative way to make whatever you're trying to make happen. So leave it off with that.
That's the think and grow rich way, right? That's the, you commit to that, and then your subconscious self, your subconscious mind is going to, kind of connect those dots, if you will. So I love that, man. And real quick though, because you did mention Grant, and I forgot about that, the GC stuff, right? I mean, this guy, like, he lives, eats, sleeps, breathes it. It works for him. Tell us, like, your daily routine. Like, obviously, you train and you read a book and you do all of you invest in yourself every single day. So, like, what's your daily routine? What's your what are your? I know you have your list of always. Like, tell us about that. Tell us about the list of always. Your daily routine. Like, what those right actions you're talking about. Give us some examples from your your personal situation.
Yeah. So I mean, the reason we really want to focus and hone in on our daily routine, our list of always, and like what we're doing in each selective singular day, the reason why we want to hone in to focus on that is specifically, like, it's all really ties down to momentum. Right. Once we start getting those little wins, once we start, getting that little boost from each and every single day, like the momentum that we build from days on days, weeks on months on years, like that momentum is just, it builds up to that such a high level, like ain't nothing gonna stop us. Like, and that, like whenever anything happens in life, like we've just got so much momentum that we're just rolling through it. Like, hey, it's just a normal day. I've been through this before. Like, let's just keep pushing forward. So my daily routine, like I'm looking to wake up early in the morning before the sun rises. More specifically, like if I want to pick a perfect time, which is not always the perfect time, but like 4:30, 5 a.m.
Right.
Like I was at that point in my life where I'm like, dude, 4:30, 5 a.m. like literally just knocking it out. But hey, sometimes you got to change things up. Sometimes you got to, keep doing different things to keep life enjoyable, to keep it fun, to keep the game fun. Because if it's not fun, if life isn't enjoyable, we're not going to be wanting to take as much action as we could and should be doing. So waking up early in the morning, going to the gym immediately, getting in at least a gallon of water, 2 gallons of water between that time. Like, I'm drinking, you know me, I'm drinking massive amounts of water, so that just keeps the energy rolling.
You ain't lying, guys.
Gallons everywhere. Gallons everywhere. That's
how many gallons a day are you up to now?
About like 2 to 3 gallons a day. Yeah, 2 to 3 gallons a day.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So.
And he can still sleep through the night. So if you're saying to yourself like, well, I couldn't do that because I would be up every 10 minutes peeing overnight. Like, listen, that's an excuse and a limiting belief, because this man sleeps through the night. He wakes up at freaking 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, still hits the gym. So no excuses, man. And when I look at, when you get to that level, like, I know Ryan feels this sometimes. There'll be people that are doing something like, dude, I saw this thing with David Goggins the other day, right? His hand literally looked like a bar was taken out of it. It was an indented freaking palm. And he said that he did 1,000 more pull-ups with his hand like that. Now, I'm not saying I want to do that or I will do that, but my mind tells me, like, and this is when you get to that space, okay, when you get to that place where nothing is impossible, right? My mind tells me when I look at something like that, man, if he can do it, I could do it too. Like, I mean, I don't want to do it. I'm not trying to rip my hands up like that. I'm also not trying to do ultra marathons or anything like that. But I won't say that I'll never do one, because that would be silly, right? But I'm saying if that was a goal, I know that I could do it, right? Exactly. And when you get to that place where, man, anything is possible, I see somebody like this guy drinking 2 or 3 gallons a day. I'm over here drinking a gallon, trying to work up to a gallon. I'm thinking, I got to step my game up. You know what I mean? And I know you felt like that. Like, when you see somebody else killing it, you're like, man, I gotta get on that level. You know? But what I like about what he just said too was keeping the game fun, because, dude, you could look at this guy and you could think, man, he's like a robot, dude. He's just programmed like this. But he's talking about keeping the game fun still. So, like, what other things you do to keep it fun, keep it fresh? Because I know you stick to a pretty, fairly strict routine, and that can get mundane. So what do you do to keep it fresh?
So, I mean, just like I said earlier, changing it up, really just changing my schedule, changing routine. If a normal day looks like this, I'm going to do the complete opposite. If I'm usually going to the gym in the morning, maybe I'll switch it to the evening time.
Okay.
If I'm usually only, waking up at this time or that time, I'm going to change the times I wake up. Just change.
Keep your body guessing, right?
Yeah, dude, it's really just those little things, and it really keeps you, like you said, like your mind just focused and your mind just continually moving, because your mind, we're all creatures of habits, right? So if we're continually just doing the same thing over and over, like, our mind's going to become conditioned to that. Yeah. And, sooner or later, we're not going to be performing at our peak performance. Because
it's like too easy,
right?
Yeah,
at one point in time, that was our peak performance. That's where we were best capable. That's where we were, doing as much as we could. But we're not going to figure out, what that next level is if we're continually doing the same thing.
That's so good, man.
Dude, just always just jumping outside of the box. Like, hey, if I don't, go out to eat normally, throughout the week, like, I'm going to go out to eat throughout the week, So just finding, like, those creative things.
So tell me, like, when you get to that point, what tells you that, okay, I need to change it up? Like how do you know, all right, I'm not performing at my peak level, it's time to change it up? Like, what's the indicator for you?
Yeah, I mean, specifically the indicator is sometimes, number one, and this obviously isn't the indicator that I'm looking for, but sometimes we get into, like, a rut. Sometimes those results aren't clicking as they should be. Yeah. Sometimes we might not be moving in the right direction. And me personally, like, I'm so self-aware of, like, what I'm doing on a daily basis. I'm so self-aware of, like, hey, like, am I moving in the right direction or am I not? Yeah. So, like, I notice, like, almost very quickly, like, if I'm moving in the right direction or not. Right. If I'm doing what I should be doing. If I'm, hitting my list of always. If I'm, in the field as much as I should be. Whatever it might be, like, I'm just always looking back at, like, hey, when was I performing at my best? When was I getting the most results that I was getting? And,
where did I go wrong?
Yeah. Why am I not doing that right now at this very point in time? So that just is a big eye opener to me. Like, there's something that's not going right. There's something that I'm not doing, that I was doing before. So that makes me just tighten up on all the activities that I'm doing and really just removing anything that's not going to feed the fire, not going to build me, and just focusing on like, what was working at that time, repeating successful actions.
Yeah.
And that's really the indicator for me is like, I know where I should be performing at. We all know where we should be performing at. I know where I'm the best at. And if I feel like any point in myself at that very point in time, like if I'm not performing at that level or, doing as much as I should, like it's just an immediate, like, just like an indicator, just this red flag, like error. I'm trying to put the right numbers in the calculator, but the calculator's not giving me the right answer. So I'm just like, yo, what's going on?
But then that ties into, so as you're saying that, I'm thinking where most people, I mean, I don't know what the percentages would be, but I bet half their lives they spend in that median, right? That middle of the road, like where they know the actions they're taking aren't working, but they don't make a change because they don't know what to change. When you're basically saying just change something, just make those changes till you're, and that's what we're talking about, taking fast action. It's like, it's as simple as, man, if he's in the gym every morning and he's not where he wants to be, maybe he just switches up, goes to the gym in the evening. Then maybe now he feels better. Now he switches to, gym in the evening throughout the week, and then eventually that gets mundane and he switches it again. Or maybe the gym's boring, so maybe you get into MMA, or maybe the MMA is not working for you, so you're rolling around doing jiu-jitsu or, whatever, but you're always challenging yourself with something new. And I think that, I'll be honest with you, I've been in the gym every morning pretty consistently for a while now, right? I mean, we had a conversation at one event when I think we were in Arizona. It's I wasn't performing optimally. Like I knew there. What was the term we were talking about? We said I was resting on my laurels.
Resting on your laurels.
Resting on my laurels. And honestly, since that event, I've been very consistent. Me and Sean both, very consistent in the gym in the morning. Changing it up a little bit here and there. But I know if I'm looking at it right now, I know like, okay, we do need to change that up a little bit. And we started to change it up by, now we're running on Wednesdays instead of going to the gym and lifting. That's a different challenge. So, man, I hear everything you're saying, and it's all you're always going to be making those tweaks, making those changes to reach that optimal performance. And I think, the biggest takeaway that I'm getting is that you have to do it immediately, right? Don't live your life in the zone where you're like, well, I know what I'm doing is not necessarily working, but I don't know what to do that will work. Like, just do something different, right? Just do something different. Just change it up. Whatever you're doing, if it's not working, change it up. Find somebody who's successful, lean into them a little bit. Hey, what are you doing that's working so well for you? You know what I mean? Like, hey, having a slow week over here. How are you doing? You're killing it. What are you doing that's working for you? You know what I mean? You told me you're in the field the other day, slung like 6 MAPDs. Like there's somebody out there that's going out every day and not selling one. They need to get behind somebody like you that's doing it and learn those actions and do it quickly. You know what I mean? Because life's too short to sit in that hanging in that balance, man. And I think too many people live their lives there, unfortunately.
Yeah. Why do you think that? I mean, I think the number one reason is because people aren't willing to ask for help. People aren't willing to go out of their way to ask people for help. Like, and I think that honestly it stems back to like just our upbringings, teaching. Like, I don't know, just some point in our lives, like we were given just bad information, not to like reach out, not to ask people for things, right? Like sometimes
I'm not asking for directions when I'm lost.
Exactly. Like sometimes even me myself, like I sometimes even hate, reaching out to people for help, but like, man, there's like you have to. If you want to get to that next level, if you want to really create a life that you desire, that you can share with other people, like you got to be willing to ask for help. And to go back on what you were saying earlier, like you don't know what the right thing is if you don't know, right? So
100%.
If you don't know what the wrong thing is, you won't figure out what the right thing is.
So true.
Like if you're not taking action, like you said, you're not going to figure out like what the right thing is for you, what's the wrong thing. You're not going to figure out if you're moving in the right direction or if you're not. So like just like you said, might as well just take action, commit to it, move with speed, and hey, like next thing you know, like hey, I'm moving with speed and this big opportunity comes. It's like, whoa, Like, why haven't I been doing this my whole life?
How
Right?
that happens?
Wow,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I'm taking action and then something happened.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
why haven't I been doing this my whole life? And
Yeah.
that's what starts to build that habit, and that starts to reconstruct your subconscious
Yeah.
mind of like removing
100%.
that clutter and start adding that good information.
Amen, man. And I also want to just add in there, this applies to everything. You know, what we're talking about. And that's the cool thing about the mindset. This is where I live, dude. Like I hate training on products. Like it's just like, who cares what the product is? If you have the right mindset and you're a learner, like you learn the product, but you've got to. I mean, if you have the right mindset, you'll be successful in anything. And that applies to. I mean, we're talking about business here. We're talking about selling insurance, but this applies to relationships, marriage, parenting. I mean, you name it. Like it all transitions into all of those avenues of our lives. And I think, you know, when you look at successful people that are, you know, are failing in some of those areas, they're not applying the same principles that they're applying to their business, to their family life, or to their, you know, whatever that looks like. And so, you know, what we're talking about applies to more than just business. And you might just be like, hey, you know, I'm pretty content where I'm at financially with the business and everything else. That's great, but this still applies to your life. Like you've got to, you know, take your spouse out on a mystery date night. You know what I love about Justin and Tempest? You saw that they went on a freaking like cool date night where they, you know, they dressed each other at the thrift store or whatever. I thought it was so creative, and I texted my wife. I'm like, we got to do this, you know. So you gotta apply these things to everything, and that's why I appreciate my relationship with Ryan Loede. Guys like you know, we're talking about Waylon, we're talking about all the people that we're around, dude. It even when I'm failing, right? Even when I'm not hitting my list of always, or, you know, like I wasn't when I saw you at the conference at one time. Like I knew like I wasn't in the best place that I'd ever been. I wasn't, you know, if I was performing at 100% previously, I was, you know, maybe at 80% or whatever that was. I just knew it wasn't optimal. And being around these guys, it changed everything. So get to events, you know, get around people like this, ask for help, take fast action. I mean, there's so many lessons in what we just talked about, dude. It's unbelievable. And so now we're going to go do a quick training for my agents. He's going to drop the same wisdom for some of the agents. And I'm just fired up. He's here. I texted him this morning. When I woke up, I'm like, oh, dude, Ryan's in the office today. He's stopping by. Like, my energy was better because of him. And that should teach you, too. Like, you want to be that person. Like, I know that I am that person to a lot of other people. And people are like, man, why are you doing so well? How are you doing so well? It's like, man, I refuse to have any negativity in my life. I weed it out as quickly as I can anyways. And I keep that positive, you know, high energy attitude. We do energy in the office every morning. We get fired up. Like, that stuff is real, man. If you've got energy, like, dude, you can run through walls like we're talking about. So thanks for stopping by, man. We appreciate it. This thing's gonna drop and people are gonna freaking light it up, dude.
Let's go.